Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So yeah, today I wanted to do another quick video basically about this is going to be about guide dogs. It's not really guide dogs, it's called Guide Dogs versus Veganism, isn't it? So yeah, I wanted to do sort of a video like explaining what I'm trying to talk about. So so basically the other day I went to it's a shop that was Matalan, and in the entrance there was this woman advertising guide dogs basically, and I thought, as soon as I went in there, I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm going to have to speak to her about veganism because I've been vegan for over 2 months, so why wouldn't I? And then I went back in there and no, I went back in there, I was already in there, and then as I was leaving, so I went up to the entrance and I spoke to her, and yeah, I had a really interesting conversation with her. She was talking about, she was advertising guide dogs for the blind and everything, and she was advertising like guide dogs for the blind and everything, and I immediately put veganism into it, even though it doesn't intertwine directly, because I was saying, are you a compassionate person? You're advertising dogs and everything, and I hate to say it, but it's discrimination, because at the end of the day she's promoting the guide dogs, which is the message I agree with. I agree with the message, but she admitted she wasn't a vegan, so she was eating the bodies of cows and pigs and whatever and other animals, whilst promoting her compassion towards dogs and guide dogs. I mean, why couldn't I know that sounds strange, but why couldn't a pig do the same thing as like a guide dog? Why couldn't you have a guide pig? I mean, pigs are meant to be more intelligent, but they're killed at 6 months old, aren't they? So I just think it's hypocrisy, and it's discrimination, which a lot of people don't see. A lot of people don't see the animal. A lot of people just think there's no one there. They look at cows and pigs and everything, and chickens. And I mean, when has a chicken ever hurt anyone? I mean, fucking hell. And a lot of people just see these innocent animals. I mean, a lot of people see the animals, and we treat them worse than worst criminals on earth, really. But people don't see the connection. They're morally inconsistent. So she was having compassion towards the guide dogs, but there's no moral difference between a dog and a pig. And she eats pigs, and she says she's compassionate. She loves animals. So I was pointing out the hypocrisy of what she was promoting. I was trying to point out the moral hypocrisy of, the way we treat chickens, and the way we treat pigs and cows and everything. It's absolutely despicable. It's absolutely despicable the way we genetically modify these animals and kill them at a fraction of their lifespan. Chicken are killed at 40 days old, broilers. Pigs 6 months, and they live up to 10-15 years, and it's just anything to do with dogs. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like dogs anyway, but I've never been around dogs. I don't really like dogs, but it's the discrimination which I hate the most. It's the discrimination. People don't see it. People don't, the amount of dog walkers I've seen quite a lot, and people just don't see this discrimination, and it bothers me. It bothers me how people don't, we're a nation of animal lovers. We love our cats, we love our dogs. We don't go into town centres or whatever and start eating pigeons on the ground, do they? Pigeons, we love, we're innocent animals with hearts, with brains, with eyes, with lungs. We sleep, we procreate, we recreate, we give birth. All the mammals do, and obviously lay eggs to the birds and stuff. And I mean it's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that you can even say like an animal isn't sentient is crazy. How can you say like a mammal isn't sentient? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any logical reasoning to me. We're mammals, aren't we? So how is a cow that gives birth and has the same gestation period? How is a pig that also does the same, really? How can you say, chickens have brains, they have eyes? It's ridiculous how we throw this arbitrary line and say like which animals, and this is the discrimination I was pointing out. With the message behind the guide dogs, I agree with. I'm not condoning the message, blind people and everything, but it's the discrimination, because when you say guide dogs, and it even had the names written down, I'm thinking this is like putting a blindfold on. This is like propaganda. This is discrimination. We're a nation of animal lovers. We love all animals. Let's give them names. RSPCA. They're a bit ill. Let's euthanize them. RSPCA. Let's nurture them. RSPCA step in and you can get put in prison if you abuse an animal. But then you can do the same thing across all these farms where, I hate to say it, but infanticide is ripe. It is, unfortunately, it's absolutely despicable. And that's perfectly legal. So this is basically a contradiction. This is a massive issue in society. I'm not even going to mention the fact of COVID and where that came from, eating animals. But It's ridiculous. And that's why I was trying to explain to her. I was trying to point out, would you become vegan? Would you ever consider it? The way we treat chickens, they're killed at 40 days old, genetically modified. They often have heart failure, lung failure in the factory farm setting. Just no different from a wood pigeon who I filmed in my old garden. It's absolutely just, it's unbelievable. And cows, have the same gestation period as us, and they give birth, they produce milk for their young. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, animals, they have the same organs as us, man. It's a no-brainer. I mean, especially if you're around cats and dogs and everything, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm surprised, more vegan food thankfully is available, but I'm just trying to point out to her, you don't have to eat lettuce for tea. That's what I was trying to point out to this woman who's doing the guide dog thing. I don't have any problem with the message. I just have an issue with the discrimination. It's a bit like species. It's called speciesism. It's basically the same as racism. Racism? What am I talking about? Racism, sexism, heterosexism, anti-Semitism, whatever the discrimination. The root of all evil is speciesism, because before anyone is taught to hate someone because of their skin colour, hate someone because of how they look, their gender, how fat they are, what ethnicity they are, they're taught to hate or love certain animals. They're taught to love the dog, love the cat, and then eat the chicken, cow, pig, fish, sheep. In all fairness, there was a little bit of a disconnection. In all fairness, I wasn't really aware, when I ate meat a lot, a year or two ago, I wasn't really aware chicken, I suppose I vaguely knew, but I never really, if I knew the way chickens were treated, killed at 40 days old and genetically modified, that would have broken my heart. That's why I'm eating chicken for a year. It would have absolutely destroyed me. But I never knew. So a lot of people are disconnected, even, but still they're taught to love certain animals and eat others, and this is the root of all evil. It's that, money. These animals, they don't mean anything. They're being victimised to such a degree that they're not even considered victims. And I was trying to point this out to the guide dog person. That it's just unbelievable the way you view animals, as if there's no one there. They're nothing. They're just commodities. They're products. Do what you like to them. AI them, genetically modify them, put stamps on them, cut their tails off without anaesthetic or whatever, put them in horrible conditions, a lot of the time their young are unfortunately killed because they're not viable for the industry, in the egg laying industry, all the male chicks are killed, a lot of bobby calves are killed, and then a lot of piglets, a lot of young animals are killed, and then that's perfectly legal. And I didn't really expect to say all this to the woman. I said a lot. For about 5 minutes I was talking to her, not that long actually, but I was just trying to point out to her, you don't have to give up anything. You don't have to give up, you don't have to eat lettuce for tea. I don't do that. Last night I had a vegan carbonara. I had this vegan thing from Tesco's, vegan mushroom thing, and I had some vegan bacon. It was absolutely delicious. It tastes like the same thing. I mean, you've got to realise that people go vegan for the environment, but it's a bit like saying, because it's a Holocaust, 3 trillion a year. So I'm going to say, the Nazis, when they were killing the Jews in the gas chambers, it's really no different to what we do to pigs, and a third of them are stunned by CO2 gas. A third of them in the UK are stunned by CO2 gas. It's like saying, oh God, I'm against the Holocaust that the Nazis did because it's bad for the environment. Really, the ethics, veganism is about ethics. It isn't about anything else. It's not even about health, although whole foods plant-based is better than processed. But I was trying to tell you, you don't have to give anything up. There's so many alternatives now in the supermarket. There's so many alternatives now. Vegan burgers, a lot. You don't have to give anything up. And I was trying to tell this to the guide dog person. I know veganism isn't directly about guide dogs, but the fact that it has dogs there, and the fact that it implies that you love dogs, you're compassionate, and it's essentially a pet, isn't it? A guide dog. It's sort of the same thing. And the way we view different animals so differently. I mean, I can't imagine anyone who has a guide dog who loves dogs eats the bodies of other animals that were killed at a fraction of their lifespan. And this is the root of all that's wrong with us. This is discrimination. I'm surprised more black people don't see it. I'm a half Indian, so I don't know. I mean, my ancestors came over, in the last century for a better life. So perhaps I can relate to it more for that compassion. But I'm surprised more like more black people who have been oppressed. Slavery was legal for 400 years. Perhaps even women. With the vote and everything, that took ages to get through, and the Holocaust was a legal thing. That's the thing. Things have time to catch up. But in the last 20 years, the internet isn't very good for some things. But with social media, you can't hide from the truth. The truth will out, as they say. So hopefully, I've told her, I know, I agree. I abide by the message for guide dogs. But why couldn't you have guide pigs? You may laugh at that, but why not? Pigs are going to be more intelligent than dogs. That's why I would never want to have a dog initially. I would just feel like I'm promoting the speciesism. That's the thing. I think it's speciesism. It's discrimination. It's the way we treat pigs and cows and sheep, and I mean, sheep probably have it best, arguably, but you know what I'm saying. Factory farming. 90% of pigs are factory farms. Chickens are killed at 40 days old. Cows, innocent mother cows. I mean, we're drinking their breast milk for some reason with all the hormones in it, all the pus in it, all the all the estrogen in it increases a man's estrogen levels straight away. What the fuck's going on, innit? Why are we eating hens and unfertilized eggs? That's like eating. I don't understand why we're eating a hen's menstrual cycle. I mean, it's just strange, isn't it? I don't know how that's become food, but we need to change our ways, because it's not right to be using animals as commodities and just putting seeing them as nothing. This is what destroys me. We see these animals as there's nothing. There's no one there. There's no one looking, seeing the world through their eyes, and it absolutely kills me. Especially all these dog walkers I see, and I'm sure a lot of them aren't vegan, and that's what I'm trying to say to her. You're a compassionate person. You're doing this guide dog thing because you care about the blind people, or whatever. But I'm just trying to say you're promoting speciesism, you promote discrimination. Try going vegan. So I tried to say this. I tried to say that to her, and I thought that was only yesterday as well. So that was only yesterday, and I thought I've got to put this into a video. I've got to tell her, because obviously I didn't record it when I wasn't in the store. I wasn't like, I was thinking of recording the audio, but I just spoke to her. But no, that's why I'm having to do this video. But yeah, so just think about the speciesism, think about the discrimination, and just think, if you love your cat, you love your cat, you love your dog, why would you eat the body of another animal? It's pretty obvious. You go into town, you don't get hungry over seeing a little gentle pigeon. Pigeons are probably one of my favourite animals. That's why I don't eat chicken anymore, because they're so similar. I mean, I'm vegan. I don't eat anything for over 2 months. So I've asked her to consider going vegan, because she was compassionate towards the guide dogs, and she obviously loves animals. And if you're watching this, just consider it. You don't have to give anything up. Just go into the supermarket. I won't even say be vegan. I'd say reduce your meat intake. Now, I know you're really not supposed to. You should really tell the truth and say go vegan. But I would say, reduce your meat intake. Go vegan for once a week. Go vegan, as much as you can do. It took me ages to go vegan, in all fairness. I started in the lockdown 2 years ago, in 2020. So in all fairness, do it at your own pace. It doesn't matter how long you take. Just do it at your own pace. But just try, get the vegan McDonald's. Get a vegan Greggs. Get a vegan Cornish Bakehouse. Get a vegan pasty. Get a vegan meal from Tesco or a supermarket. Get some vegan cereal bars. Get vegan ice cream. Get some vegan chocolate. Have some more fruit and vegetables. It's just do as much as you can. Instead of getting the sausage, get the vegans. Just you don't have to give anything up. I don't eat lettuce for tea. I had vegan carbonara last night. In all fairness, I would not be vegan if there wasn't the alternatives. I'd probably be pescatarian. I'd probably eat fish still. So yeah, just try your best, and I asked her to try her best as well. So hopefully she might try being vegan, because she was compassionate towards animals. And if you're watching this, just try going vegan. Even if it's only 1 day a week, just try it. Just see what options are available. Why not? If you don't like the taste of it, fair enough. But at least try it. If you've got a cat or dog, would you take a cat or dog to be euthanized in a slaughterhouse? Would you take them to a slaughterhouse to be euthanized? And if you wouldn't, then that should tell you everything you need to know. And the dogs in Yunnan, China, would you campaign for them to have bigger cages for the dogs in Yunnan, China? You wouldn't. You want them to be banned outright. So why would we have this for some animals and not others? We're not lions. We're grey apes. We're mammals. We're like the gorillas. We're we're like the chimpanzees and everything in the jungle. We eat a tiny bit of insects, but mainly fruit and veg. So yeah, just think about it. Please, just think about it. That's all. Think about it and see if you can change. Change for yourself.